Welcome to Jets This Week, the playoff edition. We've never said that before. This is a first. The Jets came back to Winnipeg. Well, it's not a first for Tim or for you, Ed. I'm sure you covered Jets 1.0, but this is the first time in Jets 2.0 history, and the Jets will get started on Thursday night. They're playing the first place in the Western Conference team, the Anaheim Ducks. They had 109 points. The Jets finished with 99. This is team seed 1 versus seed 8. But let's talk about that, Ed Tait. Is that as meaningful as it might be in some years?
No, I don't think so. I think that the difference between 1 and 8 is 10 points, and I think that's representative of what happened in the Western Conference this year. It's pretty tight. The Jets were really good in the Central Division, the toughest division in hockey. They played Anaheim pretty tight this year, lost in a shootout, lost in overtime, and lost another game 4-1. But I think these teams are pretty evenly matched, and so I know it's cliche that everybody starts at 0 in the playoffs, but given the matchup here, I don't think it's as lopsided as a 1 versus 8 might sound.
I've got some storylines, so I'm just going to go through them with you guys. Tim, Ondrej Pavelec, obviously, just named second star of the week by the NHL earlier this morning. He's obviously a key factor for the Jets, and what do you expect from him, and how good does he have to be, and do you think the bubble might burst?
I don't know about the bubble. I think he's going to have to be great this week, but I think you can say that about any playoff series at any time, that if you don't have goaltending, you have no chance, and that's just a function of the way the playoffs work. I think he's been really exceptional down the stretch here from his return to the net in St. Louis on that fateful night where it went wrong at the end. But since that time, he's been the big league goalie I think most Jets fans have been hoping for. More of that in the playoffs will get them somewhere.
I want to talk a little bit about Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry, and obviously they are the top Ducks. They have been together on and off since 2005. They won a World Junior Championship just down the road in Grand Forks. Then they won a Stanley Cup in 2007 with the Ducks. 2010, they won a gold medal at the Olympics in Vancouver. 2014, they won a gold medal together in Sochi. Perry has won a Hart Trophy along the way. If you want to beat the Ducks in a 7-game series, you have to limit Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry. You can't shut them down. A number of things that you need to beware of them. Obviously, when they score, the Ducks most often win. So, you have to limit them. I don't think you can let them, you can't turn the puck over in the neutral zone against them. If they can gain your blue line easily and get set up in your zone, and they're fresh when they get that on a shift, that goes to their advantage. If you make them work in their zone, dump it in and make Ryan Getzlaf go 200 feet with the puck, by the time he gets into your zone, the shift might be you're well into the second half of it, and he's not as fresh. Perry isn't as fresh. You got a chance to get them off the ice quickly without good things happening. So a number of good things for them. So puck possession against this line, make them play defense is a big factor for me. Ed, discipline. The Jets have been one of the most heavily penalized teams in the NHL. Oddly enough, the Ducks this year, their power play wasn't very good, 28th in the league. I bet you right now Bruce Boudreau has a whistle around his neck and is working exactly on that. And, don't be fooled. This power play can get hot in a hurry with that kind of talent. How important is discipline?
Well, it's mammoth. And in the last little while, the Jets have been, I think, cleaning up a little bit. They're not taking as many stick fouls and offensive zone penalties. We saw on the last road trip in St. Louis that Mark Stewart, who doesn't back down from anybody, got into a couple melees or brouhahas, whatever you want to say, and turned the other cheek, and it helped the Jets. One led to a power play and a power play goal. This is where the playoff experience might come into play, because guys like Ryan Kesler are going to get in your grill a little bit. You've got to be able to back away and fight another day. It's nasty, it's dirty in the playoffs, and if the Jets don't control that aspect, they're going to be down an awful lot against killing penalties. The other thing is that if you can play 5-on-5 against Anaheim, their 5-on-5 numbers aren't as impressive as you might think for a team with 109 points. So again, critical for the Jets to stay out of the box. As you mentioned, their power play isn't ranked very high, the Ducks, but there's a lot of dangerous pieces on that crew.
All right, we're going to go buzzer around here for a moment, and I'm just going to throw out an issue or a name, and I'll start with you, Tim Campbell. Ryan Kesler.
Playoff experience. I think that's a big thing. And Ed mentioned it, and I think in this series that's a real wild card for the Jets, and it's one of the reasons I might not be as confident, I'd say, at the start of the series about how this is going to go, because there's no knowing what'll happen. I know the Jets have some Stanley Cup winners on their roster, but by and large, as a group, they have no playoff experience, and you can't wait 3 games to get with the program in a 7-game series. So I think Kessler embodies playoff experience. The Ducks have lots of it, and to start with, I think that's their big edge.
My buzzer around question name is Adam Lowry, and I think he's a player to really keep your eye on. This is a guy that the season has gone on and the hockey has gotten harder to play. He's been better, and I think that there's a lot of players need to make a step right now, and I expect Adam Lowry will be one that makes a step, and don't be surprised if he isn't a central figure in this series. I'm not sure about offensively, but I think he's probably going to draw a lot of Ryan Getzlaf, or a little more than you would expect, and maybe quite a bit of Ryan Kessler too. So Adam Lowry, that big body and that real sharp hockey mind, he's a guy to keep an eye on. I'll go to you now, Ed, and I'll say Frederik Andersen.
Well, as much as Andre Pavlik is kind of under the microscope, you could say the same thing about Frederik Andersen in Anaheim. You know, he's got good numbers, but it's sort of like the same situation in St. Louis. You're looking at a team that's really powerful, and if people are looking for a question mark on their depth chart, that's the spot they circle, is in the net. It could be Gibson, it could be Andersen. Andersen was in all 3 games against the Jets. You know, he's put up some decent numbers, but there's a huge question mark about him and whether he can get it done in the playoffs.
Bruce Boudreau.
Got experience, and there's this little black cloud hanging over his head. I think a lot of it may be media generated, but his playoff numbers aren't that good. In Washington, not that great. In Anaheim, just 1 series win. And I think a lot of people are looking at Bruce Boudreau as somehow the reason or the catalyst for what is and isn't right with the Ducks. I think the factor's overrated probably at the start of the series, but as things go on and coaches and teams have to adjust, we'll see. I think a lot of Bruce Boudreau as a coach, though. I should say that.
Great stuff. This was Jets This Week, the playoff edition. Tim and I will be cooking something up from Anaheim early in this series, and then we'll be joined by Ed when we get back to Winnipeg. And if we go back to Anaheim, you might see all 3 of us there. So stick to Jets This Week and look for all of our articles on the Winnipeg Free Press or winnipegfreepress.com. Thanks for watching.